And now we take a look at collective nouns. Collective nouns. I'll say these are nouns that name or refer to group or a collection of people, animal, or things as unified entities. Collective. From the word collective, you will know what the noun is. Collective, it means bringing together under one umbrella. Collective, bringing together. So the explanation or definition is that these are nouns that name or refer to groups or a collection of people, animals, or things as unified entities. That is, you bring a certain set of people together and then you group them as one. You bring animals together, you group them as one. You bring things together, you group them as one. For example, we have audience, one. But what makes up an audience? What makes up an audience? Collection of people. The collection of different persons make up an audience. Makes up an audience. So audience in that case, or audience in this case, becomes a collective noun. It becomes what? It becomes a collective noun. For example, we say team. What makes up a team? Is it not people? Is it not individuals? But we use team as an entity, as a body, one. We use audience as an entity which comprises of people. Team, which comprises of what? People. These are collective noun. Family. A family is made up of a mother, a father, and the children, uncles, aunties, as the case may be. But we say the family is. Family, in that case, is used as an entity. So it is a collective noun. We have committee. Committee of friends. We have a committee made up of friends. There, in that case, when we're using committee, we use committee as a noun, a collective noun, an entity, one. Collective nouns display two features, which are as follows. One, they can take either a singular or a plural verb. They can take a singular or what? A plural verb. If I say the team leaves for London next week. If I say what? The team leaves for London next week. The team here is being used as an entity. It's being used as what? An entity, meaning one, just as a group, one group. It's being used as an entity here, meaning one group. But if I say the family were divided, if I say the family were divided, I'm talking about the people that make up the family. Here I'm referring to the people that make up the family, which includes a father, a mother, the children, and if it's an extended family, you could have uncles, aunties, nephews, nieces, and all that. So the family, the team lives, one is an entity, one is used as a group of people. One of the sentence, the first sentence is in singular form. The other one, the subject, is in plural form. So it depends on the notion. It depends on the what? On the notion. And that is why collective nouns play a significant role when we are dealing with notional concord. When we are dealing with notional concord, it is based on the idea. It is based on what? The idea. So I can decide to use team. If I say the team leaves for London next week, I'm talking about the group. I can say the team are not playing well. I can as well say the team are not playing well. When I use team in this case, I'm not just talking about the body. I'm talking about the individuals that make up the team. The individuals that make up the team. That is what I'm referring to when I say the team are. The team is a collection of different persons. So if I say the team are, I mean the people that make up the team are not playing very well. But if I say the team leaves for London, I'm talking about the entire body as an entity. I'm talking about the entire body as an entity, as one. That is what I'm referring to. Collective nouns, they can take either a singular or a plural verb. I've been able to show you that. Now, our next focus is on count nouns and non-count nouns. We're talking about countable nouns and uncountable nouns. So we call them count nouns and non-count nouns. Count nouns. These are nouns which can be counted and are realized in both the singular and plural forms. Count nouns, it means you can count them. That's just the meaning. It means you can count them. So if you talk of window, you talk of windows. If you talk of chair, you talk of chairs. More than one, you put your S. You talk of car, you can talk of cars. You can talk of book, you can talk of books. Cup, cups. Laptop, laptops. So count nouns can take the definite and the indefinite article. I can say a cup, I can say a room, I can as well say 2 rooms. So I'm counting them in terms of numbers. I can say a dog, an envelope, an elephant, the room. I am counting them in terms of numbers. So you can also use count nouns with the cardinal numerals before they can be counted. Example, 1 room, 1 dog, 2 elephants, 10 elephants, 50 elephants, 20 lions, as the case may be. So you can count them. You can separate them and then count them. The non-count nouns. For the non-count nouns, from what we have explained in count nouns, you will discover that the non-count nouns are actually the nouns that cannot be counted. Say these are nouns that cannot be counted. They are also called uncountable nouns. I've used the term before. They are also called what? Uncountable nouns. These are always in the singular form. You can also call them mass nouns because they exist as an undifferentiated mass. Some examples include water. Can you count water? Except you put them into cans. Gold, furniture, equipment, information, etc. Other examples of non-count nouns in English are abstract nouns such as loyalty, faithfulness, endurance, name it. These are non-count. These are what? Non-count nouns. They are also abstract for that because you don't see them, so you cannot count. I cannot say to love. Okay? I cannot say to loyalty. I cannot say 10 faithfulness or 50 endurance. These are not appropriate. You cannot count them. That is what non-count nouns are. However, there are many concrete nouns which are still non-count. There are also many concrete nouns which are still uncount. Although they can be seen or touched, they can still not be counted because you cannot separate them into single units. For example, we have paper, salt, water, oil. These are concrete nouns. But until you begin to put them into substance with which you can measure them, like a gallon, a jerrycan of oil, then you now talk of 10 jerrycans of oil, 10 gallons of water, 10 liters of water. That is the only way you can count them. Ordinarily, you cannot count water. So even though they can be seen or touched, they cannot be separated into single units. However, you can use certain units of measurement to indicate quantities of these nouns. For example, you can say a piece of paper, a cup of wine, a liter of oil, etc. I've explained these. So these are non-count nouns. So far, we've looked at nouns from different perspectives. We've looked at nouns from the character. We first of all defined what a noun is, and then we say a noun is a naming word. We said what? A noun is a naming word. From there, we moved on to talk about the characteristics of noun, where we said that nouns have various characteristics. and which is 1. Only nouns can take determinants, such as article a, the, and, some, this, that, etc. Then we also say nouns are mostly changed into plural forms. We're still talking about characteristics. We say they take s, es, ies, and then we went on to give the exceptions to them. You can go through the notes on your screen, or you listen to the class all over again to get full understanding. So we have so many things. We classified nouns to proper nouns, and then we say the proper nouns are nouns that usually take initial capital letter. All proper nouns must take initial capital letter. And then we said these are the names that we give to particular persons, places, animals. And then we said Adewale, Ibadan. These are proper nouns. The initial letter must be written in capital letter. Right? Good. So we talked about common nouns. We said they are names that do not specify a particular place. We looked at concrete nouns. We said concrete nouns are nouns that have physical forms that we can see. And then we talked about abstract nouns. And now you get from the name abstract, you know what it means. It means it cannot be seen. You can only feel. So we said peace, hope, love, kindness, honesty. These are what? Abstract nouns. So also we went on to talk about collective nouns, and then we said these are nouns that name or refer to group or a collective, people, animal, or things as unified entities. And we gave example like audience, like committee, like family, team. These are collective nouns. And then we have count nouns and non-count nouns. There's so many things we've talked about nouns, and we expect that you have full knowledge, full grasp of what we have discussed so far. And now we're taking the second part of speech. We're taking another part of speech. We're treating another part of speech. And this time around, we're taking pronouns. We're taking what? Pronouns. Pronouns. What are pronouns? Pronouns are words used instead of a noun. Yes, it's as short as that. Pronouns are words used instead of a noun. They are words used instead of what? Instead of a noun. Pronouns are words used instead of a noun. What does that mean? It means in a place of a noun, you can use a pronoun. You can use what? A pronoun. For example, if I have John is at home, and then I can decide to change, rather than say John, I can say he's at home. He, John, is a noun, right? He is a pronoun, right? So this pronoun has taken the place of John. He, which is a pronoun, has taken the place of John. That is what we mean when we say a pronoun is a word that takes the place of what? A noun. Or a pronoun is a word used instead of a noun. So we say pronouns are words that are used instead of nouns. In a discourse, you could use, I showed you example in the course of explaining what a pronoun is. And then you see in a sentence like John is at home, we could have he is at home. I showed you that example, and then I tried to explain to you that that is used instead of he, which is a pronoun, is used instead of John, the name John. So it takes the position of John. That is the function of a pronoun. That is what pronoun does. Pronouns, when you do not know the name of the person, in a discourse, you can use pronouns when you do not know the name of the person or thing you are referring to. You can also use pronouns to refer to persons or things when you do not want a third party, that is the third person, to know what you are talking about. There are different types of pronouns in English language. There are different types of pronouns in English language. For example, we have the personal pronoun, we have the personal pronoun, we have the possessive pronoun, we have the reciprocal pronoun, we have reflexive pronoun, indefinite pronoun, we have emphatic pronoun, we have relative pronoun, demonstrative pronoun, numerical pronoun, and interrogative pronoun. These pronouns will be discussed. Definitely, we're going to talk about them. We'll discuss them and then we'll know. We talked about noun and then we told you the different types of noun. And then when you now go into phrases, if you move a step further, you'll discover that we'll have what we call noun phrases, which has to do with the determiner plus the noun. Same with in pronoun, we can have relative. For relative pronoun, we can have relative clauses. We can also have relative clauses. So there is a need for you to understand your nouns. It's the scratch for building your grammar. Your part of speech is the basis, the foundation for which you build your grammar. So if you don't understand all these pronouns, if you don't know these pronouns now, you might have issues pointing out what a relative clause is. You might have issues knowing what a relative clause is. So there is a need for you to pay attention when I'm explaining all these types of pronouns to you, so that when you see them in clauses, you know what to name the clause. Fine. So we have personal pronoun, possessive pronoun, reciprocal pronoun, reflexive pronoun, indefinite pronoun, emphatic pronoun, relative pronoun, demonstrative pronoun, numerical pronoun, and interrogative pronoun. All these we're going to be discussing in pronouns. So come along. Personal pronouns. We'll say personal pronouns are used to refer to persons and non-persons. They are used to refer to persons and non-persons. Examples are I, we, us, she, her, it, you, they, and them. These are categorized into three in terms of person and number. Now look at this table. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, and of course 5. And they are labeled person, number, gender, subject, and object. We have first person, singular, the number is singular plural. The subject, I, we, object, we, us. We have the second person, singular plural, and so you have them. We also have the third person, he, him, she, her, and then the non-person, it, they, them. That is the table below. You have to study, just know them. You have to know them. Pronoun, the first person is the speaker. First person in pronoun is the speaker. Like I, like we. The speaker is the first person. The second person is the listener. The listener is the second person. Why the third person is the subject you are discussing is the third person. I said the first person could be the speaker, the second person is the listener, and the third person is the subject that is being discussed. The third person is the subject that is being discussed for pronouns. So in pronouns you have it in person, and then when you talk about number you are referring to singular, plural, gender, masculine, feminine. You have feminine pronouns, you have masculine pronouns. You have pronouns that are used for male, you have the pronouns that are used for female. That is what we mean by feminine and masculine. Masculine and feminine. These are the pronouns. And then we have the pronouns we use for non-persons. Pronouns that are used for non-persons. Like thing. You use it to refer to non-living being. You use it to refer to non-living being. non-living things. You can say she. You can't use she for table. You can't use he for chair, but you can use it because they are non-living being. They are non-living being. Don't forget, when we are saying first person, we are referring to the speaker. The speaker is the first person. The second person is the person listening. The listener is the second person. And of course, the third person is the subject of discourse. Is the subject of discussion. That is that. So you study this table very well. Try to understand the table. It's very important. Now, here is a drill for you. Identify the type of pronoun in italics in the sentence below. Now, identify the type of pronoun in italics in the sentence below. But here, I've decided to underline it for you. Now, he can get her to do his bidding. He can get her to do his bidding. Now, identify the type of pronoun. The pronoun in the sentence is he. It is a masculine third person singular subjective pronoun. It is what? The third person singular subjective pronoun. If you've gone through the diagram I gave earlier on, you would see what I am talking about. So it is what? He is masculine. It is third person singular. And of course, it is subjective pronoun. So you're going to do this one for me. This is its time of breeding. Now, first of all, tell me if it is a masculine pronoun or not, if it is third person singular or not, and of course, if it is objective pronoun or subjective pronoun. Also, tell me if it is a non-person pronoun. Tell me if it is a non-what? Non-person pronoun. Possessive pronouns. Say possessive pronouns. These are pronouns that indicate possession. From the word possession, you get possessive. So possessive means to show possession, to show ownership. It simply means to show ownership. Possession means ownership. You understand? So it means ownership. When we now say possessive pronoun, these are pronouns that shows ownership of something. They show ownership of something. So these are pronouns that indicate possession or ownership of a particular thing. Examples are mine. If I say the book is mine, it shows I own it. The book is his, it shows he owns it. It's mine, it shows I own it. It's ours, we own it. It is yours, you own it. And theirs, they own it. So you can use them as indicated in the examples below. For example, you say the book is mine, the car is theirs, the building is ours. The building is what? Has. So what the possessive pronoun simply does is it shows ownership. It shows ownership. So the examples of possessive pronoun include 1, his, has, its, ours, yours, and theirs. These are examples of possessive pronoun. Then we have another type of pronoun called reciprocal pronouns. Reciprocal pronouns. These are expressions such as other and one another. We have other and one another. These are reciprocal pronouns. They are what? They are reciprocal pronouns. So you can use them to show mutual interaction. That is why we call it reciprocal. To reciprocate. To reciprocate means to return. Let's say to return. So when we're saying reciprocal pronouns, we mean these are expressions you can use them to show mutual interaction between or among a group of people. There is a mutual interaction. The interaction is not one way, it is two way. You understand that? So you can use reciprocal pronouns as they are used in the following examples. Now let's check the examples. Now we have the examples on your screen. We have husband and wife should love each other. It shouldn't be husbands that are loving the wives alone. The wives should also love the husband. This is mutual relationship. It has to be reciprocal. Whatever the man does to the wife should also try to do to the man. That is what we mean by reciprocal. So this is one of the examples, and you can see the pronoun here, other. You can see the pronoun here, other, each other, one another, another, other. These are reciprocal pronouns. Each other is often used for two persons or items. However, the dictionary confirms it can be used interchangeably with one another. Now let us look at another example. It says members of the department could not see one another at the conference. Members of the department could not see one another at the conference. One another is often used for more than two persons or items. However, the dictionary confirms it can be used interchangeably with each other. When we say one another, we mean two or more persons. But at the same time, you can use it for each other. That is what the dictionary is saying currently. That is what the dictionary is saying. That is for reciprocal pronouns. Reflexive pronouns. We say reflect. You must have heard of the word reflect. When you stand before the mirror, what does it do? Your image reflects. So you see yourself in the mirror, right? We're talking about reflexive nouns. So from the word reflect, you should know what reflexive is. Reflexive pronouns function as grammatical objects. Reflexive pronouns function as grammatical objects, and they refer to the subjects of the clauses or sentences in which they appear. They do what? Refer to the subjects of the sentences or clauses in which they appear. Examples of reflexive pronoun are myself, yourself, himself, herself, ourself, yourselves, themselves, and oneself. So here are some examples. I need to take care of myself. Myself is referring to I. Is that not so? So it's reflecting to I. I need to take care of what? Myself. You understand now? Another one is we are only worrying ourselves for nothing. We and are, there is a connection between we and are. Right? Ourselves is referring to we. The third one is they should blame themselves for their misfortune. They should blame themselves for their misfortune. Now, they and themselves. Is there no connection? Of course, there is. Themselves is referring to they. So we say reflexive pronoun. There is a synergy. There is an harmony between the reflexive pronoun and the subject in the sentence or subject in the clause. So reflexive pronoun tends to refer to the subject. They tend to do what? Refer to the subject. And I've shown you that myself is referring to I in the example I've just given. So I need to take care of myself. We are only worrying ourselves for nothing. We and ourselves is referring to we, right? So they should blame themselves for their misfortune. They and themselves, they're referring to each other. You should be able to tell me all the pronouns that we have, their names. So for reflexive pronoun, we have ourself, herself, himself, yourself, myself, themselves, oneself, and yourselves. These are reflexive pronouns that we have. We've defined what reflexive pronouns are. We say reflexive pronouns refer to the subject of the sentence or the clause, as the case may be. And we've been able to show you examples